homicide. Detectives Jim Jones and Tony Ward arrive at the scene.
There's no sign of struggle. There's no sign of any great injury, except under her left eye, just in the lower eyelid, there was a bruise.
There was some speculation that she may have stumbled and hit her head on the corner of a dresser. Again, why did she die from that?
The detectives order an immediate autopsy. The pathologist tells the detectives that his initial examination of Dorothy Ortez showed no signs of an aneurysm nor any signs of a heart attack. But he has discovered one thing.
The pathologist came to us and said, "What are we going to do about the bullet in her head?" And we were totally shocked. We had no idea that body had been shot.
There certainly wasn't enough trauma, or not the trauma you would expect from somebody getting shot in the head.
It would be most unusual for someone to be shot in the head and for there to be no exit wound.
And even stranger, an almost imperceptible entry wound.
It turned out that the bruise we saw beneath the eye was where the bullet had entered.
Someone held a gun up to Dorothy Ortez's face and pulled the trigger. At the Ortez house, the detectives interview the woman who made the 911 call. Her name is Juanita. She's been boarding with the family for a couple of years.
She was a foreign student. She was studying hairdressing, and she was home every night. But once a week, she would stay overnight with her boyfriends. And it was the night that this happened, that she happened to be at her boyfriend's.
The detectives asked Juanita to tell them about Dorothy and the rest of the Ortez family.
Dorothy did seem to be a saintly lady that was involved in helping all kinds of people.
She'd been involved with the Girl Guides organization for a long, long time. And her husband, Richard, he had been involved with the Boy Scouts organization all of his life.
But Juanita admits they weren't the perfect family. There were problems caused mainly by their son, Donnie.
She did also tell us the son had some problems with the police, and that at one time had taken a sledgehammer to the house and had damaged the garage door and the veranda.
But Juanita says that wasn't the worst thing Donnie did.
One time he called the police on his brother-in-law, who ended up getting arrested for drugs.
Because of this, Donnie's sister lost custody of her 4-year-old son.
Children's Aid had placed the child in the custody of Richard and Dorothy to look after him.
Juanita says Dorothy never forgave Donnie for what he did to his sister. And that led to more conflict between them.
The boarder told us that the son had assaulted his mother on occasion, had slapped her.
His father, Richard, banished Donnie from the house. The detectives get an update from the lab. Police have determined that Dorothy was killed with a .32 caliber bullet, but they can't understand why the bullet is in such pristine condition. Most bullets, when fired, lose their shape. Dorothy's husband, Richard, arrives home and is told his wife is dead. The detectives want to know his whereabouts since last night.
He told us that he had done as usual, that he left the house, I think, about maybe 6:30. After 6, that he had touched her, shook her, and that she said she was awake, and that he then left and went downtown to work.
He owned a window machine business, and he had 3 men that worked for him, and they met every morning around 7 o'clock.
The detectives estimate there was a 2-hour gap between when Richard went to work and Juanita arrived home. Plenty of time for murder.
I remember asking him if he knew how his wife had died, and he said he hadn't. So I told him that she had been shot.
Richard is shocked. He tells police he is a gun collector. He keeps them in his study.
He had two .22 caliber revolvers and a .38 caliber revolver. Now we knew that the caliber we were looking for was a .32. We didn't know what a .32.
We asked Richard who would want to kill Dorothy, who would want to shoot her, and he said, maybe our son.
Police need to find Donnie Ortez.
Let's talk about food. Like this pig we scoured the world for.
Me llama, de nuevo en mi cama. Fue suficiente. Dad is taking the girls. Mom is staying back. She's got to catch up on some work. And so I get to play with the girls today. And they are. Se dice que siempre vino por la calle vagando, llorando por un hombre que no vale un centavo. Pobre diabla, llora por un.
Husband Richard says their son Donnie might have done it. The detectives learn that, like his father, Donnie owns a window washing company. But Donnie isn't at the job site. The detectives question his employee.
We learned that he was supposedly telling some of his employees that his dad had shot his mother in the head, the back of the head, and that the bullet had come out through the eye.
While that's not exactly what happened, it's suspiciously close. Meanwhile, uniformed officers canvass the neighborhood to see if anybody heard anything unusual. They're surprised by what they learn.
The neighbors had heard.
Detectives finally catch up to Donnie and bring him in for questioning. He denies killing his mother. He says his father is saying these things about him because they are now rivals in the window washing business.
He was not that friendly with his father or the rest of his family. But he was not happy that his mother was dead.
Donnie claims his crack about a shot through the eye was a wild guess. Besides, he's not the marksman in the family. His dad is. Ask anyone at the local gun club. Donnie has agreed to a lie detector test.
He passed it with flying colors.
His alibi as to his whereabouts, etc., checked out, and he was cleared. He was a bad actor, you know, but he didn't kill his mom.
At the Ortez house, forensic investigators are methodically searching room by room for clues. In Richard's home office, they find a letter addressed to Richard that has nothing to do with business.
The letter was dated about 10 days before Dorothy died.
The wording on it was basically, you don't have the key to my heart, but you have the key to my house. I need it back.
Detectives bring in Richard Ortez for questioning.
So I asked him if he was having any extramarital affair.
Richard admits he had a girlfriend, but says he hasn't seen her in 2 months.
Why is this being kept from us? You know, it could be just a person feeling guilty about having an affair. I don't know.
Detectives release Richard, but put him under surveillance. They dispatch officers to interview members of Richard's gun club.
They all recalled different weapons that Richard Ortez had owned, and a couple members also recalled that Richard Ortez had a .32 caliber, what was referred to as a British Bulldog.
That's the same caliber of gun that killed Dorothy Ortez. But no .32 caliber was found in Richard's collection. Acting on a hunch, Appleton asked for the address of the club's bullet maker.
Members of gun clubs, they always have somebody who makes reloads for them because buying shells or buying their bullets are just too expensive.
Who named you Bear? Who
The
named you
detectives pay a
Bear?
visit to Richard's girlfriend.
Mr. Bear.
The girlfriend was a single mother with
Mr.
one child.
Bear. Who named you
Decent,
Bear?
hard-working lady.
Ooh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
She was involved in scouting. That's where she had met Richard.
The girlfriend tells police that she and Richard had been employed for the last 2 years, but she wanted things to change.
She had given him an ultimatum that he left Dorothy for the
So,
wish.
Sando,
Sando,
Sando, Sando,
She's shocked, but not surprised.
Criminal, criminal. Este lazo todo cool criminal. Criminal. Good criminal. I am.
So that's time she'd seen them
Criminal. Criminal. Este lazo todo
to that night.
criminal.
Not the 2 months
Criminal.
Richard has claimed.
Mm.
The girlfriend agrees to let police put a listening device in her apartment. Constable Appleton visits the gun club Bulletmaker.
Half his apartment seemed as though it was part of the gun trade. To me, it was like, wow, this fellow is not just making one or two. He's into this big time.
Cola papita. Cry.
Richard Ortez.
Ortez wanted the bullets for an old 32 caliber British bulldog, but the gun was used gunpowder for The Bulletmaker insists he had no idea Richard was going to use the
Christian.
I think he was trying to
Criminal.
to kill his wife. Then he's going to
He offered police the 2 bullets left over from the back to Richard. They'll be sent to the lab for analysis. 72 hours
No te quiero compartir.
but they don't have enough hard evidence to arrest him.
And there was no eyewitness.
And so far, the bug in the girlfriend's apartment has given police nothing.
The listening device in the girlfriend's apartment.
Criminal. Mr. Lasso. Criminal.
And of course, when Richard Ortez was over there, he put on music. So that we could get the music.
Criminal. Suspect the place. Police need to fix the situation, but they don't want to alert the girlfriend. They're afraid she'll give away the game.
I believe that the girlfriend really had strong feelings for Richard. Hard to believe, perhaps, but I think she did. So, the day after we took her out to Swiss Chalet, while we were at Swiss Chalet, an officer went in, relocated the bug, and everything was just fine.
Or is it? The next night, Richard stops by.
Oh my god, oh my gosh.
But things don't go according to plan. The girlfriend refuses to let him in.
And when she looked out and saw who it was, she got frightened and she called the police.
What's your name?
In fact, she was very scared. She thought that something was going to happen to her.
You're in the middle of Super Sleuth Sunday.
He's a classic psychopath. He doesn't have a conscience.
72 Hours True Crime continues next on Escape. When there's violence and murder.
This was someone that went in there.
Find out how the villains among us are brought to justice. On Forensic Files, weeknights, 8/7 Central. On Escape. Slip away.
Here's another cleaning tip from Mr. Clean. Cleaning tough bathroom and kitchen messes with sprays and wipes can be a struggle. There's an easier way. Try Mr. Clean Magic Eraser. Just wet, squeeze, and erase tough messes like bathtub soap scum. Now Mr. Clean Magic Eraser comes in disposable sheets. They're perfect for icky messes on stove tops, in microwaves, and all over the house. For an amazing clean, try Mr. Clean Magic Eraser. And now, Mr. Clean Magic Eraser sheets.
Oh my god.
The only thing we love more than slinging Showing folks how easy it is.
You got a good grip, bro. Explore all the possibilities.
Oh, Sling TV. Your first time slinging is always so special.
I cried my first time.
Nick is a very generous slinger.
I like to share.
Have an HD antenna but want more channels? Get more of the top channels you want for only $15 a month at sling.com/easy.
If you, like many people, are covered by both Medicare and your state's Medicaid, here's something important to know. Now you could get even more health benefits than you already have. It's the United Healthcare Dual Complete Plan. To find out if you or someone you care about is eligible, it's easy. Call now to talk with us. We can explain it all and answer any questions. Medicaid gives you benefits, and Medicare gives you some too. But a dual complete plan can add even more benefits and features compared to original Medicare. You'll have lots of doctors and hospitals to choose from, plus prescription drug coverage. And depending on where you live, you can enjoy other benefits too, like dental care, vision coverage, and rides to and from your doctor or hospital. You can even get a health products catalog with credits you can use to shop for everyday things, like vitamins, oral health items, and first aid kits. And best of all, remember, if you have Medicare and Medicaid, chances are you could get a dual complete plan. So call now to talk with us and learn more. Or ask to have a licensed agent visit your home and take you through everything step by step. We know healthcare can be confusing. United Healthcare can straighten things out. With 40 years of experience, you can count on us to be there all along the way. With a dual complete plan, you could have a wide choice of doctors to choose from, better prescription drug coverage, dental and vision coverage too, all at no additional cost. You have Medicare, you have Medicaid. You may be eligible for dual complete. So call the number on your screen now to see if you're eligible, or to enroll in a dual complete plan from United Healthcare.
Everybody is talking about the world's largest thrift store. I always feel like I'm getting something really special. Thousands of like-new items from your favorite brands. Always up to 90% off. Visit threadup.com today and save big.
Let's talk about food, like this fish we scoured the world for. At Daily Harvest, we take our time, so you don't have to. This is nourishing, thoughtful, real food, ready to eat in minutes. Go to dailyharvest.com and get started today.
Mounting evidence suggests former Scout leader Richard Ortez shot his wife Dorothy in an almost undetectable way. Police have bugged his girlfriend's apartment, but their investigation is jeopardized when she refuses to let Richard in. She wants to help police, but she's frightened.
The girlfriend, I'm certain, was scared because she knew, for Richard had told her, that he had 3 special bullets made.
And one of them might be for her. The detectives try to convince her that the only way she'll be safe is if she helps them put Richard behind bars. Finally, she agrees. She invites Richard over the next night. He arrives bearing gifts.
He did actually take a lot of clothes over to her. His wife's things. He even took a pair of used oven mitts over before he used.
This time he brought something special. His wife's fur coat. He tells his girlfriend that if it doesn't fit her, she should give it to one of her fat friends. He also jokes about his wife's lack of interest in sex.
He didn't miss her, and now he was free to do whatever he wanted to do. All the circumstances have to indicate guilt. That's the test for a circumstantial case. And that was what was happening as we were going through this. Each piece would drop into place and wouldn't fit any other conclusion.
Then one last piece of the puzzle falls into place. The lab confirms the reloads given to police by the bullet maker in the first 72 hours matched the bullet that killed Dorothy Ortez. One month after Dorothy Ortez was found dead, police finally have enough evidence to arrest her husband, Richard, and charge him with first-degree murder.
There was no denial. There was no screaming. There was no shouting that he was innocent. There was nothing of that. They just came along.
The detectives now believe they know the full story. Richard Ortez fell in love with another woman and lost all interest in his wife of 28 years.
Oh my God. He wanted to walk away and have another life of his own. Didn't want Dorothy around.
So he devised what he thought was the perfect murder. As a gun lover, he was well aware that a bullet with a quarter charge doesn't make much noise. The neighbors would hear nothing. He also knew there'd be no exit wound. The bullet was too weak to penetrate the skull. When his girlfriend gave him an ultimatum, Richard decided it was time to act. All his careful planning would be worth it. He knew the boarder would be out all night. No one would ever suspect a thing. It would look like Dorothy died in her sleep.
So it's a very cold-blooded, deliberate act where a man could shoot his wife in the head, get dressed, go to work, and carry on like nothing ever happened.
When the bullet was discovered, Richard even tried to pin the murder on his son.
Richard had planned this.
At his trial, Richard broke his silence to speak in his own defense. He told the jury, a man has certain needs. Richard Ortez was sentenced to life in prison for the murder of his wife Dorothy.
If you see Girl Guide cookies for sale, you might think of Dorothy, because she was very much involved in Girl Guides. That often happens. Something comes up and you talk about it. And I still think how shocking it all was.
Mystery writers like to say there's no such thing as a perfect murder. But maybe they're wrong. Toronto. In this Sikh neighborhood, you can speak Punjabi all day. Young people marry according to their parents' wishes. People find each other jobs at businesses, like this bakery. Which is why in 1988, the city's favorite rye bread is baked by Sikhs. Someone like Ravi Bethel. Ravi is a hard-working, fun-loving 22-year-old. Everybody likes him, but no known enemies. But on the night of August 2nd, Ravi does not come home from work. For 24 hours, no one has any idea where he could be. His family grows more worried. Shortly after 6 p.m., the phone rings. A man whispers, "Your son is dead." That's when police are called in. In true crime, investigation and conviction may take years. But every detective knows that the crucial clue is always there, somewhere in the first 72 hours.
What a
24 hours after an anonymous caller says that Robbie Bethall is dead, police assign someone special to the case.
I was born in India. I'm a Sikh. I have certain language skills, and that's the reason I was brought into the investigation.
Detective Sidhu is now a senior intelligence officer. But in 1988, when this case broke, Sidhu was a young detective trying to find out why Robbie Bethall was missing. Like many Sikh families, Robbie and his wife come together through an arranged marriage. And there have been problems. Bobby's father points an accusing finger at his son's pregnant wife. He says if anything happened to Robbie, his in-laws in Chicago are behind it. He hints it has something to do with the dowry, but refuses to say more. Next stop, the bakery where Robbie Bethall was last seen. Sidhu and his partner locate Robbie's best friend. Though he's reluctant to get Robbie into trouble, detectives manage to convince him that talking to them is the best way to help his friend. The friend says Robbie got an unexpected phone call around 11:45 p.m.
Oh, hell yeah. Oh, my God.
Though his shift wasn't over for hours, he said this couldn't wait. So around midnight, Robbie flipped him a Mickey and asked him to sign out for him. That was the last he'd seen Robbie. Reluctantly, he adds one important fact. The call was from a woman.
The night he went missing, he did tell a friend that he was on his way to see his girlfriend.
A girlfriend and a pregnant wife? Detectives tracked down another co-worker Robbie talked to the night he disappeared.
It was common knowledge that he had a girlfriend. As a matter of fact, he had more than one girlfriend.
Oh, my
She says
God.
Robbie was popular with women in the bakery, but there is one in particular that she remembers. About a year ago, Robbie seemed to have his eye on a woman named Ravana. When detectives ask her if this was more than a workplace flirtation, she tells them about the day her boss asked her to get boxes from the upstairs storeroom. Detectives wonder if Ravana is the girlfriend Robbie went to see the night he disappeared. But the co-worker doesn't know. All she knows is that Ravana quit the bakery more than a year ago and moved out of town with her husband. The next day,
She was very humble, very simple lady. They only had been married for a short time, and very upset. And it's a
will last forever.
wife who would be upset.
Sidhu wants to find out if she knows anything about a girlfriend. But he wants to be tactful in case Robbie still shows up. Robbie's wife reveals that a few months ago, things got so bad that she secretly packed her bag and went to live with her family in the States. But Sidhu can't get her to say why she left, or why she agreed to come home. As the 72-hour mark approaches, police discover Robbie's car abandoned 10 minutes from the bakery. There's no plates. It has been vandalized.
After 72 hours, we were lot more concerned that he hasn't been found.
Shortly after this, the witness claims he saw someone run from Robbie's car to detectives wonder whether the running man was Robbie or the person responsible for his disappearance. But it was too dark for the witness to get a good description of the man or the driver. Ravi's father now comes up with a new theory. He tells Detective Sidhu about his son's run-in with members of the Babar Khalsa.
Babar Khalsa is a militant Sikh organization founded in India, and they have cells in Canada.
The Babar Khalsa, it's rumored, coerce workers to contribute towards an independent Sikh homeland. Ravi's father says his son not only refused to give them money, but threatened to write letters exposing their members to the Indian embassy. As they're following the son, police in a Toronto is given call to come to a wooded area. Homicide detective Paul Carroll vividly recalls arriving at the scene.
It was in 1988, and we received a call that initially it was thought to be a baby in a bag. It was the initial radio call. When we arrived, we discovered that it was in fact burned human remains of an adult.
The skull shows signs of severe trauma from a heavy object.
The orbital bone around the eye had been fractured, and there was a severe fracture in this part of the jaw and the skull as well, which was consistent with a pretty severe blow, or several.
It's clearly a homicide, and someone is trying to hide the victim's identity.
There was a few items located around the body which eventually assisted us in making positive identification. There was a Seiko man's watch which led us to believe it was in fact a male. There was a necklace, gold pendant.
Detective Sidhu and Carroll, now a team, undertake the delicate task of showing the jewelry to Ravi's father.
The pendant was actually customized and made by their missing person's father, who was a jeweler. That was identified by the father as he had made that for his son.
Detectives now know Ravi Bethal was murdered, and that the killer or killers have taken great pains to cover it up.
Fact. Emily hasn't bought groceries in weeks. So how is she creating this masterpiece? Her freezer is stocked with Daily Harvest. That's how. Chef-crafted food, organic ingredients, delivered to your door, ready in minutes. See for yourself at dailyharvest.com. Go to dailyharvest.com and get started today.
Are you struggling with addiction? Do you need to detox? Is addiction controlling your life, hurting your loved ones? Don't be ashamed. Addiction is a disease that requires medical treatment. At Freedom from Addiction, we help people nationwide get free from addiction to alcohol, opioids, prescription medicine, narcotics, and more. Your life is precious. Addiction is a disease. Accept Freedom from Addiction now to get the victory over addiction you and your family deserve. We get hundreds of calls every day. Right now, we just want one. Yours. Call Freedom from Addiction now, and in as little as 21 days from right now, you can return home free from addiction and free to start a new chapter in your life. But you have to call now.
Make the call. 800-940-6161.
Hey, allergy muddlers. Do your sneezes turn heads? Try Zyrtec. It starts working hard at hour 1 and works twice as hard when you take it again the next day. Zyrtec, muddle no more.
Sleep this amazing? That's ZzzQuil Pure Z Sleep. Our liquid has a unique botanical blend, while an optimal melatonin level means no next-day grogginess. ZzzQuil Pure Z's, naturally superior sleep.
How would you like payday to come up to 2 days early?
I get paid 2 days before everyone else. I love getting paid on a Wednesday.
Want to have your money instead of waiting in line to cash your check?
I can never see myself standing in a line at a bank again.
With your own NetSpend prepaid card and direct deposit, there's no waiting to cash paychecks or for your government benefit check to come in the mail. Your money loads directly onto your NetSpend card. For you to shop online, pay bills, buy groceries, use anywhere debit MasterCard is accepted.
I use it every day for every purchase. I use it to pay my rent.
It's not a credit card. It's convenient, and you can even earn NetSpend rewards on many of your purchases. That's money right back into your card account.
From eating at major restaurants to sending my mom flowers, I get cash back. My mom's smiling because she gets flowers, and I'm smiling because I get rewards.
Like my money coming back to me.
With NetSpend, you get text messages that track your spending and balance.
I love the text alert. As soon as I walk out of the store, boom, it's there. If my husband makes a charge, boom, it's there.
And NetSpend's mobile app means you can have better control of your money.
With the mobile app, I can send funds, look at my direct deposits, look at my balance.
And now, with NetSpend, you pay no interest fees, late fees, or activation fees. Your money is FDIC insured and can be protected by MasterCard Zero Liability Protection. Join the millions of people who have trusted and enjoyed the convenience of NetSpend. There's no cost to order and there's no credit check to get started. So call now.
I get paid before just about everybody that I know. I am able to keep track of my money. I can set up budgets online. I just feel like it's just so customer based that there's no reason not to have it.
Order your NetSpend card now. Be one of the first 200 to order and choose your card color free.
I use my NetSpend card for everything.
Be one of the first 200 callers and choose your card color. 1-800-435-9518. That's 1-800-435-9518. Get paid up to 2 days faster with NetSpend.
What's your name? Who named you Mayor? Who named you Mayor?
Missing. Robbie
I didn't do it.
told his friend at the base.
I didn't do it.
Off to see his girlfriend.
No.
Now that it's a homicide, detectives press Robbie's wife for answers. Does she know about Robbie having a girlfriend?
Our investigation showed us that the victim and his wife had been having some marital problems.
Painfully, she recalls cleaning up after a party the month before Robbie disappeared. He returned 3 hours later, and he'd been drinking.
She actually confronted him, and he confided at that point with her that he had in fact been at this woman's residence. So it was confirmed that he was having an affair or had had an affair.
How deep is your love? Oh,
He said he'd been in love
like the
before
ocean.
and he wasn't going to give her up.
How deep
Detectives
is your
asked if she knows
love?
the woman's name. She says the woman's name
How
is
deep
Ravana,
is your love?
the same woman who Robbie reportedly had an affair with at the bakery. But when police interview Ravana, she denies it all.
They'd never been involved romantically. She didn't have any idea what happened to him. She nothing. Basically, I moved away and from that area of Toronto and hadn't seen him in several months.
I want to write that. I want to write that.
And didn't appear to be nervous. And her answers were simple and straight.
Detectives also questioned Ravana's husband, Sukhvinder Shagil, about Ravi's disappearance. Shagil says he only met Ravi once, at a dance for bakery employees more than a year ago. Something doesn't add up. Sidhu and Carol apply for a wiretap. When it's turned down for lack of evidence, detectives have no choice but to close the investigation into Ravi Bethal's murder. Months later, Ravi's widow and newborn daughter moved back to her family in Chicago. For 6 long years, there are no further leads. It looks like someone's going to get away with the perfect murder. Today, police received word that the Sikh man has new information relevant to the case. The man is currently in jail for sexual assault and slated to be deported at the end of his prison term. He's willing to exchange his information for permission to immigrate to Canada. In his videotaped testimony, he says he was a friend of Sukhvinder Shigil. They'd been police officers together back in the Punjab. On the night of August 2nd, 1988, he received a phone call from his friend Shigil.
He tried to find out on the phone what had happened, but he wouldn't tell him. He just asked him to come over and asked him to come over in a hurry. He arrived there and he entered the house and he noticed a lot of blood.
He'd known that Shigil's marriage to Ravana was in trouble. Shigil told him that he had surprised his wife and her boyfriend, and the boyfriend had tried to attack him. He said he killed him in self-defense.
He advises that he was afraid and didn't want to help, but he was threatened by his friend and that he needed him to help, and if he didn't help, that he would kill him.
As a former police officer, Shigil figured it would throw the investigators off the trail to abandon the dead man's car near the bakery and put the body somewhere else. In round 2, they found a wooded area off a side road.
Once at a site that they had chosen, our victim was doused with gasoline and was set ablaze.
The informant is hoping his cooperation will let him stay in Canada. The question for detectives: is a single word of his story true?
You're in the middle of Super Sleuth Sunday.
He's a classic psychopath. He doesn't have a conscience.
72 Hours True Crime continues next on Escape.
So tell us what happened, Grant. Is that how you left your family?
No, I didn't do any of this.
This is a twisted case of alleged murder, money, and porn.
The rules are simple.
Prosecutors say he stole more than $200,000 from his family to send to this webcam model.
Some girl in Bulgaria got $200,000. I just want the truth.
Okay, I'll admit I didn't keep my place as clean as I would like because I'm way too busy. Who's got the time to chase around dirt, dust, and hair? So now I use heavy-duty Swiffer sweeper and dusters. For hard-to-reach places, Duster makes it easy to clean. It captures dust in one swipe. Ha! Gotcha. And Sweeper heavy-duty cloths lock away twice as much dirt and dust. It gets stuff deep in the grooves other tools can miss. You know what? My place is a lot cleaner now. Stop cleaning. Start Swiffering.
We asked our customers, why is Consumer Cellular your choice in wireless?
So what do you like about Consumer Cellular?
Consumer Cellular is the best value. It's a fabulous service, great price.
Consumer Cellular helps me save money. Plans start at only $15 a month, and unlimited talk and text is just $25 a month.
It's simple and easy.
It is reliable.
I like the fact that there are no contracts.
Simple, reliable, and no contracts.
It's the ease of getting the phones, using the phones, and for people of our generation, that's really important because we're not always tech savvy.
I have a smartphone because my granddaughter said I had to have one.
They still have a flip phone, but that's okay. Choose a phone that fits your needs.
Consumer Cellular checks to make sure that the plan fits you, who you are.
Well, I try to be honest and trustworthy, and I also think Consumer Cellular works that way as a company. I trust them. They share the same values.
Stop paying too much for wireless service. Switch to Consumer Cellular and start saving today.
With Consumer Cellular, I'm only paying for what I need.
By moving to Consumer Cellular, my cost is 50% less than it was.
I have everything I want with Consumer Cellular.
I get a discount through AARP, which makes me happy.
AARP members get exclusive discounts.
Their customer service is fabulous.
Customers are the number one priority.
I really feel like they take care of me.
There's not another provider in the industry that has the customer service that Consumer Cellular does.
We're proud to receive the J.D. Power Award for highest customer service 6 times in a row.
It's easy to switch. You could use your own phone and you could use your own number.
Wild horses wouldn't drag me away from Consumer Cellular. Go with Consumer Cellular.
You're going to save a lot of money.
Switch today. It's all backed by a 30-day risk-free guarantee. Call 1-800-730-3742. Go online or visit a Target store today.
You got to look into it. You should be with Consumer Cellular.
We sat down with pet lovers to ask why they love shopping at Chewy.com.
After having my youngest, shopping for our animals was complete chaos. Thanks to Chewy.com, I can get their treats, their prescriptions, all in one place. I don't have to go to the store or lug heavy bags of food. Shopping is easy.
We love Chewy.com because it was so easy as a new puppy parent to get everything we needed for the first time.
We got toys, we got food, we got a playpen, and it was delivered directly to our door. It was amazing.
Get fast free shipping today at Chewy.com, where pet lovers shop.
In 1 week, a lot will happen in your life. Wrinkles just won't. Neutrogena Rapid Wrinkle Repair's derm-proven retinol works so fast, it takes only 1 week to reveal younger-looking skin, making wrinkles look so last week. Rapid Wrinkle Repair. Pair with new retinol oil for 2 times the wrinkle-fighting power. Neutrogena.
Detectives need to find something to verify the informant's story.
Really, the only evidence that we had was the statement for jailhouse informant. So we had to take a close look at that and make sure that what we were getting was on the up and up.
They rewind the tape to the part where the informant mentions the burning of Robbie's body around 2 a.m. They know that a melted watch had been found by the charred body. The watch is forensically dissected to help determine the time of death.
We wanted to see if we could tell if the watch had stopped at a particular time. We took the watch to the engineer and opened the watch up. We found that the workings of the watch had actually stopped at between 2:11 and 2:12 in the morning on the 2nd of August.
This corroborates the 2 a.m. time mentioned by the informant. Police pay a 5 a.m. visit to Sukhvinder Shagil, now divorced from Ravana.
And I translated his rights for counsel, that he doesn't have to make a statement, and he stated that he didn't wish to make any statement.
Ravana is also arrested. As she watches the informant's video, she breaks down. She admits she lied to police and that she did have an affair with Robbie when they worked at the bakery. But she broke it off when she became pregnant with her husband's child. She wanted a fresh start. She quit the bakery, and she and her husband moved out to the suburbs. But Ravi tracked her down. He started calling. He said he couldn't live without her. Finally, she told him it was over. What he wanted just wasn't possible. They were both married. She had 2 young children. He had a child on the way. But still, she says, he wouldn't let go. Then he did something truly bizarre. Unbeknown to her, he taped one of their phone calls where he got her to talk about intimate details of their affair. And then he gave the tape to Shakil.
Maybe he wanted them to break up, by handing over tapes to Shakil. They'll have a conflict, they'll break up, and then he'll marry her, something like that. But it was very odd for us to see that handing over tapes.
But Ravi's plan backfired. Shagil was incensed. He insisted his wife lure Ravi out to the house.
She was threatened to Shagil that if she didn't place the call, that he would leave her.
Wanting to believe Shagil when he said he just wanted to scare Ravi, she was waiting for him as he came through the door.
We learned of a couch that was in the living room at the time of the murder, and that it had a huge blood stain on the back. And she tells us a story of how she was ordered to cut the blood-stained portion of the back of the couch out and re-sew another piece of fabric onto it.
Though Shagil, the ex-cop, thought he had successfully covered up Ravi's murder, he had foolishly kept the couch all these years.
When police went with the search warrant, they located a couch. There were blood drops were still around the sofa, and that's what police recovered.
The DNA of tiny specks of blood they find on the couch proves to be Ravi's. Ravi Bethal found himself in the oldest trap of all, a love triangle. This burning obsession for another man's wife consumed not only him, but everyone around him.
You can look at the parents. They lost a grown-up, healthy young man. You look at the wife. She lost a husband. And then you look at the child who doesn't have a father. It's a real tragedy.
Because he helped solve the case, the informant is acquitted of his role in the murder and given landed immigrant status after his release from jail. Ravana receives 2 years as an accessory to murder. And Sukhvinder Shagil, who tried to commit the perfect murder, is convicted and sentenced to life. Life in the city can be dangerous, especially if you live on the street. How to keep safe? Finding a place to sleep is the biggest challenge. Look for well-lit, well-trafficked areas. This ought to do it. But tonight, on the streets of Toronto, there is no safe place. A homeless man lies dying. This isn't the first time. It's the third in a series of murders that have terrorized the homeless in Toronto. 3 down. How many more to go? In true crime, investigation and conviction may take years. But every detective knows that the crucial clue is always there, somewhere in the first 72 hours. Bright lights, big city. For some people, it's exciting. For the homeless, It's a battleground where you're at the mercy of the very streets you call home. On this balmy night in June 2001, one homeless man has paid the ultimate price. The 911 call came in just after midnight. 2 hours later, Detective Jeff McGuire arrives at the scene.
First step is to liaise with the detectives there just to ensure the scene is properly protected. So we have an exchange of information with them, give them some direction and receive information. You still take a breath and go in before you have a look because it's not a pretty sight at all.
The uniformed officers have already cordoned off the street and begun interviewing bystanders. On a major downtown intersection like this one, they expect to find a witness. So far, nothing.
Can't believe that midnight on a Sunday night on Bay Street in the biggest city in Canada, not one person saw this happen.
McGuire needs to know the victim's identity. In the bus shelter, no belongings to search. In the victim's pockets, no wallet. But the investigator knows homeless people often hide their valuables so they won't be ripped off. In the victim's sock, they find a wallet containing a bus pass and an ID. Now the victim has a name, Mr. Andrew Walker. First step in any investigation, understand your victim. Who he was might tell police who killed him. Andrew Walker made his downtown corner his home for months. People in the area saw him there every day.
He was just somebody who was there. He was part of my world. He was part of my neighborhood. As I would go to work, I would see him sitting on his favorite bench. He would watch you as you went by. You acknowledged him, he would acknowledge you. And I think that's why a number of people called him Santa Claus. He had that kind of open, jolly face, but he was a solitary character. I noticed that he would speak to an imaginary person.
From the people who worked in the area, McGuire has learned that he was a gentleman, a loner, possibly a mental patient. Police need to find his family to notify them of his death.
My partner contacted a number of different social agencies, and through welfare, he was able to determine that he had collected one emergency welfare check on his application. There was a name and address. I believe it might have just been a town and a name of relatives in New Brunswick.
Andrew Walker was born in New Brunswick. He was very close to his mother, and when she fell ill, he stayed by her side until she died. He wanted to be a teacher, went to college but never finished. After her death 9 years ago, he disappeared. His family never heard from him again. Andrew Walker is the third homeless man murdered in as many months. His death galvanizes the public. If even a harmless, gentle soul like Andrew is at risk, should everyone be afraid?
Certainly raised concerns in our minds initially, and certainly in the media picked it up and ran pretty heavy with the potential that there was somebody out running around just aimlessly killing homeless people. It was something that we had to consider, but the only way to do that is to conduct your investigation of your murder.
From the autopsy, police learned that the cause of death is trauma to the head with a blunt object, consistent with the cobblestone, and a deep slash wound to the neck, consistent with a knife. There are no defensive wounds on the victim, suggesting he was asleep when attacked. Blood tests revealed that he had no alcohol or drugs in his system, which is unusual for a street person. So is Walker's rap sheet. He doesn't have one.
Not an intoxicated ticket, not anything, which is, I think, highly unusual for somebody to be able to live on the streets and just basically never get in anybody else's way. generally end up, somebody complains about them, like he's in front of my building or he's sleeping in my garage. That just never happened with us.
With such a clean rap sheet, no evidence of robbery or struggle at the scene, it's becoming increasingly difficult to see what motive anyone could have had for murder. McGuire can reach only one conclusion. This was a random killing. It's a troubling way to begin a homicide investigation.
Motive is such a big key to an investigation because it leads you in a direction. It's the random killing, which makes it even more difficult. Gives you more concern as an investigator because, again, it takes away any starting point from you.
All McGuire has to go on is whatever is collected in the first 24 hours of the crime scene. He needs to find a lead before this brutal killer goes in weeks.
So how is she creating this masterpiece? Her freezer is stocked with Daily Harvest. That's how. Chef-crafted food, organic ingredients, delivered to your door, ready in minutes. See for yourself at dailyharvest.com.
Go to dailyharvest.com and get started today.
Are you struggling with addiction? Do you need to detox? Is addiction controlling your life, hurting your loved ones? Don't be ashamed. Addiction is a disease that requires medical treatment. At Freedom from Addiction, we help people nationwide get free from addiction to alcohol, opioids, prescription medicine, narcotics, and more. Your life is precious. Addiction is a disease. Accept the help you need. Call Freedom from Addiction now to get the victory over addiction you and your family deserve. We get hundreds of calls every day. Right now, we just want one. Yours. Call Freedom from Addiction now. And in as little as 21 days from right now, you can return home free from addiction and free to start a new chapter in your life. But you have to call now.
Make the call. 800-940-6161.
You look great. You look great too.
I just started using Carousel like a week ago.
Me too.
Only Carousel starts improving the appearance of fungus-damaged toenails in just 1 week.
That's why you look so good.
Only 1 week. Only Carousel.
Stop struggling to clean tough messes with sprays. Try new Clean Free. It has 3 times the cleaning power to dissolve kitchen grease on contact. It works great on bathtubs and even stainless steel. Try new Clean Free from Mr. Clean.
Imagine diving into the biggest closet in the world, packed with your favorite brands and styles at unbelievable prices. Welcome's largest online thrift store, with over 50,000 new items every day at unbeatable prices. Madewell from $9, Anthropologie from $13, Coach from $25, Nike from $6. From these racks right to your door. Check out the app and see for yourself. Visit thredup.com today and get 20% off your first order with code 20WOW.
Welcome to BritBox, the biggest streaming collection of British TV ever. From brand new shows to loved classics.
Oh, that's good news.
Very good. And in true British style, we'd like to say,
I'm so sorry.
sorry, dear,
Please allow me to apologize.
Sorry.
for being irresistibly bingeable.
Sorry about that, darling.
Unapologetically brilliant British telly.
I know the truth.
Escape to BritBox. Start your free trial today at BritBox.com.
COPD makes it hard to breathe. So to breathe better, I started with Anoro. COPD tries to say go this way.
Hey.
I say I'll go my own way with Anoro. Once daily Anoro contains 2 medicines called bronchodilators that work together to significantly improve lung function all day and all night. Anoro is not for asthma. It contains a type of medicine that increases risk of death in people with asthma. The risk is unknown in COPD. Anoro won't replace rescue inhalers for sudden symptoms and should not be used more than once a day. Tell your doctor if you have a heart condition, high blood pressure, glaucoma, prostate, bladder, or urinary problems. These may worsen with Anoro. Call your doctor if you have worsened breathing, chest pain, mouth or tongue swelling, problems urinating, vision changes, or eye pain while taking Anoro.
Ask your doctor about once daily Anoro to start treating your COPD.
Save at Anoro.com. A random, apparently motiveless murder of a homeless man on the streets of Toronto. At the crime scene, everything from cigarette butts to garbage in nearby containers to the murder weapon itself have been bagged and tagged for forensic testing, hoping something will yield that crucial physical link between the victim and his killer.
Ideally, we're looking for evidence of the suspect being in this area, or hanging out in this area, or living in this area, and to put him together with the victim.
Ident officers find fingerprints on the bus shelter. At a busy corner like this, they could be anyone's, but police need to cast a wide net. Some small bit of evidence that seems irrelevant now could be crucial later. Since the shelter was located just outside a complex of government buildings, there are dozens of security cameras trained on the area. McGuire hopes that one of these cameras got a picture of the killer. The day after the murder, surveillance tapes come in. Police know that a young man made a 911 call about the crime at 12:02 a.m. and that the victim died a few minutes later. The video shows a man walking through an exterior passageway around one of the government buildings at 12:05. If the killer struck just before midnight, then hurried away, he'd have ended up in these shots at just that time. So this could be the killer. But the footage doesn't show the man's face clearly enough to make a positive ID. For 22 hours, investigators have been combing the crime scene for evidence. Near the bus shelter, McGuire sees a row of cobblestones. One's clearly missing. It appears that the killer took the trouble to dig out a heavy cobblestone to bludgeon his victim to death. Nearby, an officer finds a discarded liquor bag, which is sent into the forensic center and tested by Ident officer Larry Hicks. Hicks finds a clear print on the bag.
We examined the fingerprint and compared it to the fingerprint that I found inside the bus shelter the previous day, and the fingerprints belonged to the same person. And the hit came back to a known offender.
That person is identified on the police database as Daryl Rodney, also known as Daryl Cowan, a man with a long string of convictions for violent crimes. He's an alcoholic vagrant with no fixed address. Police will have to act fast before he moves on. For one of the officers who worked at the crime scene, the name Daryl sparks a memory. An onlooker she interviewed on the night of the murder identified himself as Daryl Cowan, one of the two names that came up on police records. Officer Feidenchuk remembers him clearly.
There was one particular party in the group who was just very boisterous, very loud, laughing, jovial, not the behavior that you would expect to see at a crime scene. His explanation for being in the area was that he had spent his day drinking over at Queen's Park. I asked him about a red droplet a red stain droplet that he had on the sleeve of his Adidas jacket.
Since he was cooperating, she asked to see what he had in his knapsack, just to prove to her that he wasn't carrying a knife.
And the only request he made was that I be discreet about it, because he admitted to being a cross-dresser and that he had articles in the bags that he felt would embarrass him. He was so unusual. He made the hairs on my neck stand up. He was just too weird and too bizarre. But I mean, there was nothing else there than just a feeling.
You can't build a case on a feeling. McGuire needs more than Biden-Chuck's hunch. He keeps in touch with the officers investigating the 2 other homeless killings to see if there's any connection. Daryl Rodney may be the key. He puts out a police bulletin to find Rodney and have him picked up. Daryl Rodney's prison record shows a conviction for manslaughter 18 years ago. It also shows that he was released from jail just before Andrew Walker's murder. 5 days after the murder, police finally locate him. But he looks different. He shaved his head. When they bring Rodney in for questioning, he's difficult and evasive, pretending he's drunk and out of it. McGuire recognizes this kind of slippery behavior. He guesses that Rodney changed his appearance to disguise himself from police. Interesting, but not enough to make him a suspect. Until McGuire spots what appears to be blood on his boot. Rodney's rap sheet tells police he's a dangerous man. With his fingerprints at the crime scene, blood on his boots, and his attempt at disguise, McGuire feels he has enough evidence to arrest him. He's counting on forensics to prove him right. In crime fiction, the boot would give him the evidence he needs. But this is true crime, and as McGuire will find out, things don't wrap up quite so neatly.
You're in the middle of Super Sleuth Sunday. He's a classic psychopath. He doesn't have a conscience. 72 Hours True Crime continues next on Escape. The courage of fighting back.
Who are they going to believe? You or me?
I'm not a criminal. The secrets to finding the truth.
I can't remember anything that happened.
And the resolve to demand justice.
I still think that was just unbelievable.
Unsolved Mysteries. Weekdays 4/3 Central on Escape. Slip away. One tiny clue could break a decades-old murder.
It's the final piece of the puzzle.
Forensic Files. Tomorrow night, 8/7 Central on Escape. Slip away.
Olay Ultra Moisture Body Wash gives skin the nourishment it needs and keeps it there longer with lock-in moisture technology. Skin is petal smooth because your best skin starts with Olay. Before I was diagnosed by my doctor, I didn't know why my body was moving like it had a mind of its own. My eyes blinked way too much, even though I didn't mean to. It turns out I have tardive dyskinesia, a condition that may be related to important medications I take for my bipolar disorder. My fingers moved like they were playing a piano that wasn't there. I was embarrassed that others could see my movements. My doctor said tardive dyskinesia can affect different parts of the body. It may also affect people who take medication for depression and schizophrenia. I know I shouldn't change or stop my medication, so I was glad to learn that TD is manageable.
If this sounds like you or someone you know, visit talkabouttd.com or call 1-800-822-2199 to receive a free brochure that describes the uncontrollable movements of TD and where on the body they might occur. You'll find a free discussion guide with ways to start a conversation with your doctor about how TD might be affecting you.
It's a relief to know that today TD is manageable. Learn more at talkabouttd.com.
How would you like payday to come up to 2 days early?
I get paid 2 days before everyone else. I love getting paid on a Wednesday.
Want to have your money instead of waiting in line to cash your check?
I can never see myself standing in a line at a bank again.
With your own NetSpend prepaid card and direct deposit, there's no waiting to cash paychecks or for your government benefit check to come in the mail. Your money loads directly onto your NetSpend card. For you to shop online, pay bills, buy groceries, use anywhere debit MasterCard is accepted.
I use it every day for every purchase. I use it to pay my rent.
It's not a credit card. It's convenient, and you can even earn NetSpend rewards on many of your purchases. That's money right back into your card account.
From eating at major restaurants to sending my mom flowers, I get cash back. My mom was smiling because she gets flowers, and I'm smiling because I get rewards.
Like my money coming back to me.
With NetSpend, you get text messages that track your spending and balance.
I love the text alert. As soon as I walk out of the store, boom, it's there. If my husband gets a charge, boom, it's there.
And NetSpend's mobile app means you can have better control of your money.
With the mobile app, I can send funds, look at my direct deposits, look at my balance. makes everything much simpler.
Call now. With NetSpend, you pay no interest fees, late fees, or activation fees. Your money is FDIC insured and can be protected by MasterCard Zero Liability Protection. Join the millions of people who have trusted and enjoyed the convenience of NetSpend. There's no cost to order and there's no credit check to get started. So call now.
I get paid before just about everybody that I know. I am able to keep track of my money. I can set up budgets online. I just feel like it's just so customer based that there's no reason not to have it.
Order your NetSpend card now. Be one of the first 200 to order and choose your card color free.
I use my NetSpend card for everything.
Be one of the first 200 callers and choose your card color. 1-800-435-9518. That's 1-800-435-9518. Get paid up to 2 days faster with NetSpend.
Hey, allergy muddlers. Do your sneezes turn heads? Try Zyrtec. It starts working hard at hour 1 and works twice as hard when you take it again the next day. Zyrtec, muddle no more.
Daryl Rodney, the prime suspect in the murder of Andrew Walker, is in jail. Detective McGuire has sent his boots to forensic biologist Cecilia Hagerman, hoping through DNA analysis to finally have solid physical evidence.
There was a small amount of blood found on those boots. However, no DNA profile was obtained from that small amount of blood.
A blow to McGuire's case. But Dr. Hagerman suggests a new line of investigation.
There was a significant amount of bleeding at the scene, and that would indicate to me that the best thing to look at would be the clothing of the suspect, because there would be a good chance of transfer of blood from the victim to the suspect.
And he didn't have his backpack when he was arrested, or some of his other clothing was missing as well. So I asked him, I said, look, you're going to be in jail for a while. Where's your stuff? We'll get it. And his comments were that, don't worry, you'll never find it. It's, I got it put away.
In detention, Rodney boasts to his cellmate that he doesn't care if they put him in a hellhole like the Don jail, because from the window he can keep an eye on the few possessions he owns. The windows of the Don jail look out on a ravine where homeless people live in makeshift shelters. What Rodney doesn't know is that his cellmate is an undercover detective.
Deep in the bushes, we located a plastic garbage bag, which, torn open, contained a black backpack.
The backpack holds all the items that the officer at the scene of the crime had seen and cataloged in her notes, including the jacket, which she suspected was spattered with blood. This find is good news for investigators who are running short of evidence. But when Dr. Hagerman examines the blood on the backpack and jacket, it turns out to be Rodney's blood, not the victim's. As they prepare for trial, McGuire's worried. The case isn't strong enough to win a conviction. All they need is one piece of physical evidence that ties Rodney to the murder. And they still don't have it. Looking for a new perspective, McGuire returns to the crime scene. What has he missed? He starts with what he knows about the night of the murder, then tries to reconstruct the rest of it. Walker was fast asleep. Rodney was drinking in a nearby bar. What happened next? Rodney is an angry, hyper-drunk, but Walker was sleeping so peacefully, so deeply, he wouldn't wake up. For some reason, that must have pushed Rodney over the edge. As McGuire faces Rodney's path, he struggles to dig out one of the other cobblestones. It's harder than he thought. It suddenly dawns on McGuire that the killer might have left traces of his skin on the murder weapon.
I reminded her, Cecilia, you promised. I said, we got to the point where this guy's going to walk out. That was the end of the line. And the bottom of the list of priorities, you told me to look at the rock.
The blood on this rock, after DNA typing, was the victim's blood. That was no surprise. The question was whether or not the person who used this rock to bludgeon the victim also left his or her DNA on that rock in the form of perhaps skin cells.
And the preliminary hearing was running from a Monday to a Friday. And if we got past the Friday and we didn't have a match, then the gate would have opened and the accused and I would have walked out of court together.
The rock was quite dirty. There was lots of soil on it. When we did the DNA analysis of those swabs from the sides of the rock, the initial analysis did not work. We had to dilute the sample down in order to get the profile out. So we had what were called inhibitors to the process. But in this case, we were able to dilute them out and we were able to get a full DNA profile.
The skin cells found on the rock match Rodney's DNA profile, which puts the murder weapon in his hand. Midweek, a call comes in from Dr. Hagen.
I answered the phone and I think her exact words were, "Jesus, I hate it when the cops are right."
Finally, McGuire has got the evidence to nail Rodney. Both Rodney's fingerprints and the skin cells on the rock were collected in the first 72 hours after the crime. Cornered, destined for a long prison sentence, Rodney wants to talk.
He went on to tell a story about him and a fight broke out and this victim had grabbed him in a headlock and beat him up. And when he finished the story, I just said, I just don't believe it. None of it fit anything we knew about the victim. I mean, what he did was just very, very horrific. I don't doubt for a moment that from what I know of his history and from my conversations with him that some form of alcohol abuse has obviously played a big part in his life, and he's got extremely violent tendencies that he just simply has no control over.
Police have since solved the two other homeless murders. Each was committed by a different killer. Rodney is sentenced to 25 years in prison. But why did he kill this man? A drunken rage doesn't answer the question. It was a random act devoid of rationality. It was what we fear the most. Chaos striking in the heart of our ordered, everyday lives. It's often said, murder is not for the faint of heart, but it can be. A quiet day in Clinton, Indiana. In the small community hospital, caring nurses mend bodies and save lives. But lately, the team has been losing the battle. There has been an alarming rise in the number of sudden, unexplained deaths, triple the normal rate. Bad luck, bad medicine, sheer malpractice, or among the angels of mercy, an angel of death. In true crime, investigation and conviction may take years. But every detective knows that the crucial clue is always there, somewhere in the first 72 hours. In the administrative offices of Clinton General Hospital, a meeting behind closed doors. Head nurse Timmons, just back from maternity leave, has uncovered some alarming statistics. In her absence, patient deaths have skyrocketed. Last year, 51. This year, 167. She can't shake the feeling something is very, very wrong. Her boss calls the police.
It was in the summer there of 1994 in which the death rate just jumped tremendously. Patients were dying, sometimes 3 of them at a time.
Nurse Timmons explains to police how she cross-referenced the times of death with the nurses' shifts. Certain nurses tend to be on the job more often when people die. Still, it could be anybody, a doctor, a technician, an orderly. She describes how she checked data from separate reports, always with the same chilling result, and the same cause of death, sudden heart failure. Nurse Timmons can't believe it herself, but she knows that numbers don't lie. Clinton police begin an immediate investigation.
You collect your evidence, your key evidence, your physical evidence, and you only have one shot to get that evidence. And if you miss it, it's probably gone forever.
Investigators move quickly to seize ECG reports. The electrocardiogram charts of patients who died of heart failure. Nurse Valquez was on duty for 49 of the sudden deaths. Under questioning, she tells police they are missing something obvious. The intensive care unit treats patients who are very sick and very old. They often have fatal illnesses which go undiagnosed. In her opinion, the rising death rate can be explained by the aging population. Investigators continue to collect evidence. They seize the red box containing drugs used to revive victims of heart failure. Nurse Barton was on duty for 47 of the sudden deaths. She also mentions that patients are old and sick, but remembers some exceptions. In particular, a local resident, Adrian B., who arrived accompanied by her niece, Melanie. She complained about shortness of breath, but otherwise seemed to be in good health. She was advised to stay overnight for observation. The next morning, Nurse Barton was surprised to learn the woman had died of cardiac arrest. The investigator feels he's getting good cooperation, but he's no closer to the truth.
Everything goes through your head is the possibilities of why the death rate might have increased. Had there been a virus or something like that, maybe entered the hospital causing death. Things don't always sometimes seem to be what they may be. If a person comes in for a broken arm and dies, a day or so later, just from a broken arm, something doesn't add up.
Nurse Majors was on duty for 76 of the sudden deaths. But he's not working at the hospital anymore. He's taken a job at his parents' flower shop. Police discover Nurse Majors was recently suspended and had his nursing license revoked. Nurse Majors believes he's being set up as a scapegoat. Majors is openly gay. Clinton is a very conservative town. He won't talk to police on advice of his lawyer. The police talked to his co-workers and learned that Nurse Majors always took the longest shifts and the toughest cases. Situations threatened to get out of hand, he took control. Patients and families praised him for being compassionate and caring. Media reports of a police investigation at the hospital caused fear and disbelief in the community.
I know Mary Oldison. I know David Abernathy. I know James Blackburn. I know Ines Kogan. It was unbelievable that such a small community, something like this could happen right at our little hospital.
Town residents, hospital staff, and relatives of the victims all demand a quick answer. But after the first 72 hours, the deaths remain a complete mystery. Confronted with 167 deaths, Bud Alcron is struggling with a question most unusual in the world of detectives.
Was this a crime? And that was a major hurdle for us. And that we had patients who had died, whether it was a natural death or it was a homicide.
I was on the fence about changing from a manual to an electric toothbrush, but my hygienist said going electric could lead to way cleaner teeth. She said get the one inspired by dentists, with the round brush head.
Go pro with Oral-B. Oral-B's gentle rounded brush head removes more plaque along the gum line for cleaner teeth and healthier gums. And unlike Sonicare, Oral-B is the first electric toothbrush brand accepted by the ADA for its effectiveness and safety.
What an amazing clean. I'll only use an Oral-B.
Oral-B. Brush like a pro.
Is your shedding pet turning you into a hair monster? Don't be scared, be prepared with TrueTouch, the amazing 5-fingered de-shedding glove that quickly, gently, and effectively removes all that shedding hair as you show your pet you care.
It's so quick and easy. Wow, it's amazing.
It's just like petting my dog and it's taking off a ton of hair.
Don't be scared of shedding. Just look at all the hair that's not getting all over your house and you. TrueTouch is available online and at retailers near you.
I'm Alex Trebek. If you're age 50 to 85, I have an important message about security. Write down the number on your screen so you can call when I finish. The lock I want to talk to you about isn't the one on your door. This is a lock for your life insurance, a rate lock that guarantees your rate can never go up at any time for any reason. But be careful. Many policies you see do not have one, but you can get a lifetime rate lock through the Colonial Penn program. Call this number to learn more. This plan was designed with a rate lock for people on a fixed income who want affordable life insurance that's simple to get. Coverage options for just $9.95 a month, less than 35 cents a day.
Why tonight?
In finding out what caused the sudden deaths of 167 patients at Clinton General. State Police Detective Bud Alcon selects 16 of the most suspicious deaths. Perhaps the dead can tell their own tales.
We exhumed bodies from the graves and have them autopsied, and let medical doctors try to find a cause of death.
Families of the deceased agree to the gruesome task. They're desperate for the truth. Cause of death on the original certificates, heart attack. The autopsies tell a different story.
When the doctors, the pathologists examined the bodies, they would say, you know, this was not death by a heart attack. The heart's in good condition.
Healthy hearts do not stop beating without a reason. This is a case of murder. Mass murder. Among the angels of mercy walks an angel of death. For hospital administrators, the news is a bombshell. They order the hospital closed. All the nurses, including Nurse Timmons, who triggered the investigation, are suddenly without a job. Their lives are in shambles. Most leave town. One Nurse Majors wants the world to know neither he nor his co-workers are to blame. His lawyer appeals to the media.
The people really who work at the hospital are absolutely convinced that no one was murdered at that hospital. No one murdered.
But Alcron is determined to prove it is murder. He turns to world-renowned heart specialist Dr. Eric Krastowski. Armed with the ECG files seized in the hospital, the doctor searches for the real cause of death.
What I decided to do was to take each case and very carefully sort of start to take notes and document what was going on.
He's looking for a common pattern in the heart movements, which would explain so many sudden cardiac arrests. And a lot is riding on the right answer.
I always said benefit of the doubt to the nurse to prove it otherwise, because what do I know? I don't want to be the one to put an innocent person behind bars because I built a false case.
While waiting for Dr. Krastowski's answer, Detective Alcron makes his next move. Look into the psychological profile of nurses who kill.
And many of these people in hospital settings who do kill are playing God. These individuals are into power and control and get off on the mastery of other individuals. They have the power to decide who lives, who dies.
Committing serial murder without being caught is the ultimate power game. The urge to kill can lie dormant for years until something acts as a trigger.
Could be anything from stress to job dissatisfaction to something that's happening in their life that's causing them more stress. There is a relationship between stress and acting out.
In light of the psychological profile, the detective revisits what he already knows about the nurses and gets a new read on Nurse Majors. There had been an incident in the staff room, some black humor, poking fun at Majors. Innocent enough, but the normally affable Majors didn't find it very funny.
It was reported to us, yes, that there was a personality change in him. More aggressiveness on his part, more domineering on his part, mood swings, things like that.
Majors had a good reason to be under stress. He had just lost his longtime partner. He'd start visiting truck stops late at night, cruising strangers, living on the edge. Majors does fit the psychological profile, and he becomes the prime suspect. After months of analysis, while working at home late one night, the heart specialist has a breakthrough.
I walked out of the library and came in to the kitchen and said, the son of a bitch killed him with potassium.
Potassium chloride is commonly used by hospitals. In small doses, it controls an irregular heartbeat. But its use is highly restricted because it can be lethal. In larger doses, it is used to execute murderers on death row. It's the only chemical that can cause a perfectly healthy heart to flatline. But Alcron has a murder weapon and a suspect. The detective obtains a search warrant for Major's home. In Major's garage, he finds 9 empty vials of potassium chloride. In Major's car, 2 more. A key find, but they could have been placed there by anyone. The detective sends the vials to Toronto, to the most advanced fingerprint lab in the world. In a vacuum chamber, the vials are bombarded with charged particles to reveal even the faintest fingerprint. The result? Inconclusive. Alcron is disappointed, but not surprised.
I know it's easily portrayed in television shows where fingerprints are always available. I think in my 31 years of police work, I've only had 2 cases where I've been able to get fingerprints.
Even as the police investigation tightens around him, Orville Majors is taking action to regain his nursing license. Detective Alcron is convinced that he has his man. But how is he going to prove it?
You're in the middle of Super Sloop Sunday. He's a classic psychopath. He doesn't have a conscience. 72 Hours True Crime continues next on Escape. When there's violence and murder.
This was someone that went in there with the sole intent to kill.
When there are no witnesses and the evidence is thin.
There was no sign of forced entry.
Find out how the villains among us are brought to justice. On Forensic Files, weeknights, 8/7 Central. On Escape. Slip away.
This is our moment. Let's get it. 3, 2, 1. Here we go, Peloton. Let's do this together.
One subscription for the whole family. Just one part of the best cardio machine on the planet, Peloton.
Have you been told you can't get high-speed internet where you live? Well, you can with HughesNet Gen 5. Experience the power of next-generation satellite internet wherever you live. HughesNet Gen 5 is fast. You'll get 25 megabits per second, plus built-in Wi-Fi, and there's no hard data limit. So wherever you live, now you can do more of everything you love online. Connect on social media, stay informed, watch the latest videos, and help your kids get ahead. No wonder HughesNet is America's #1 choice for satellite internet.
Act now to save big with our limited time offer. Get free standard installation by calling right now.
So what are you waiting for? Get HughesNet Gen 5.
To order, call 1-800-793-6616. Be sure to ask about our home phone service too. Call 1-800-793-6616.
today.
Before I was diagnosed by the doctor, I didn't know why my body was moving like it had a mind of its own. My eyes blinked way too much, even though I didn't mean to. It turns out I had tardive dyskinesia, a condition that may be related to important medications I take for my bipolar disorder. My fingers moved, like they were playing a piano that wasn't there. I was embarrassed that others could see my movements. My doctor said tardive dyskinesia can affect different parts of the body. It may also affect people who take medication for depression and schizophrenia. No, I shouldn't change or stop my medication. So I was glad to learn that TD is manageable.
If this sounds like you or someone you know, visit talkabouttv.com or call 1-800-622-2199. You're on Body Democracy. You'll find a free discussion guide with ways to start a conversation with your doctor about how TB might be affecting you.
It's a relief to know that today, TD is manageable. Learn more at talkabouttv.com.
Are you struggling with addiction? Do you need to detox? Is addiction controlling your life? Hurting your loved ones? Don't be ashamed. Addiction is a disease that requires medical treatment. At Freedom from Addiction, we help people nationwide free from addiction to alcohol, opioids, prescription medicine, drugs, and more. Your life is precious. Addiction is a disease. Accept the help you need. Call Freedom from Addiction now to get the victory over addiction you and your family deserve. We get hundreds of calls every day. Right now, we just want one. Call Freedom from Addiction now. And in the minute days from right now, you can return home free from addiction. You can start a new chapter in your life. But you have to call now. Make the call 800-940-6161.
60% of women live a long time now. I can assure you, with all of my things, try the next size up. And get up to 20% better coverage day or night. Because better coverage means better protection. Always.
Overcome July classes. Just one part of the cardio machine.
We suspect there's horrible serious. But he still wonders why Majors might have wanted to murder these old patients.
As we interviewed his friends, we did learn that he did not like old people. He thought that they were a burden on society. He made derogatory comments that they ought to be done away with.
Detective Alcron uncovers a deep, dark secret in Major's past. As a young man, Majors had to take care of an elderly relative, day after day, until she passed away. Majors hated it, and his anger never died. Still, Alcron needs incriminating evidence to link Majors to the potassium vials found in his car. Alcron finds out that each vial of this lethal chemical is restricted to a single needle use only. Multiple needle punctures would indicate foul play. Once again, the detective turns to science. Toolmark analyst Mark Keisler knows his evidence will be key in court.
I found multiple sticks in what was termed single-dose potassium chloride bottles. I found 8 needle puncture sites in 1 potassium chloride bottle.
These are only to be used one time. Here he was in possession of potassium bottles that have been used multiple times, which is wrong. It was not according to their practice. And so it was just one more piece of circumstantial evidence.
Nearly 3 years after the beginning of the investigation, Detective Alcron arrests Orville Majors on 7 charges of murder. Majors maintains his innocence, claiming the bottles of potassium had been planted. Alcron hopes he hasn't made a huge mistake. The prosecution has a murder weapon, motive, and opportunity, but no eyewitness. The detective worries that circumstantial evidence alone may not be enough for a jury.
They think that a nurse could be killing people. Can the jury comprehend that? It's not like a 38 revolver in your hand, a bullet, and the decedent has just been shot. How do you show that that 38 caliber weapon is a bottle of potassium chloride? And so our odds were against us going into the trial.
For the families and the community, a lot is riding on the outcome of the trial. The day before closing arguments, Detective Alcron gets a call from Melanie B. A news report of the trial has jogged her memory of something she saw in the emergency room. Her eyewitness account could tip the balance for a jury. On a summer afternoon, her Aunt Adrian called, complaining of chest pain. Melanie rushed her to the hospital. Adrian was given a bed so she could rest comfortably for the night. Melanie tells Detective Alcron she left the hospital greatly relieved. The next morning, Melanie found her aunt in good spirits. Her aunt had slept peacefully and was eager to go home. A nurse confirmed that Melanie's aunt was going to be released later that day. Melanie went to arrange her aunt's discharge. Soon after, Orville Majors came for her. He said that her aunt had taken a turn for the worse. Melanie was shocked. She didn't question why Majors gave her aunt an injection. Melanie saw Majors kiss her aunt and heard him murmur, "It's all right, Pumpkin. Everything is going to be all right." Moments later, her aunt was dead. Although still deeply grieving, Melanie is compelled to relive her aunt's death on the witness stand.
These people were betrayed. They went into a hospital to get well and ended up dying. They were murdered there.
The jury found Orville Majors guilty on 6 counts of murder. Although he chose not to testify, Majors maintained his innocence. The sentence, 360 years in prison for the man everyone called the Angel. No one believes in ghosts until they encounter one. Almont, Ontario, a tranquil farming community. Claim to fame, birthplace of the man who invented basketball. A place with the community spirit epitomized by volunteer fire brigade captain Art Brown.
Everybody knows your brother, your sister, your father, your aunt, your uncle, your grandparents, your great-grandparents. And everybody cares about each other.
But in the summer of 2002, the peace of this trusting community is suddenly shattered. Someone is setting fires. Someone strikes without being seen. An arsonist who will become known as the Ghost. In true crime, investigation and conviction may take years. But every detective knows that the crucial clue is always there, somewhere in the first 72 hours. July 3rd, 2002. Earl and Marilyn Smetten are closing up their barn for the evening, never imagining their night is just beginning.
The first fire was discovered about 7:30 in the evening. So then we rushed over with hoses and pails and stuff and called the fire department.
The Almont Volunteer Fire Brigade answers the call. In living rooms throughout the community, fire radios crackle out the location. The Sneddon farm just outside of town. The wall of a barn is smoldering and could catch fire at any moment. Fortunately, the volunteers will put it out before it spreads. In the barn, Fire Chief Art Brown finds a road flare, what any car owner might carry to light up an accident scene at night. It's also the perfect tool for an arsonist, because a road flare is like a long burning match.
Light them, they give you 20 minutes before they completely burn. So maybe from the time he's sitting there, just giving him time to get away.
After the sun goes down, under the cover of darkness, at the very same barn,
2 o'clock in the morning, a couple of truck drivers stopped and started banging on the door and got the dog checking at us. And we get up out of bed and look out the window and we see a 60-foot blaze. Unless you've experienced, I don't think you really know what it feels like to look out your window and see a fire like that so close to your house.
When I left my house, I just come onto the highway and I could see the glow in the sky.
I guess it's the biggest terror I've ever felt. You just sort of feel kind of numb because there isn't anything you can really do except stand there and watch.
the men fighting this fire are all local heroes. No matter what's going on in their personal lives, they show up. Every man has earned a handle. Scarface Rollins was scorched in a car fire. Macho Man Mackenzie once punched his way through a burning wall. Smiley Edwards keeps smiling no matter what. Retired fireman Gibby Drummond once pulled Art Brown from a burning building. After 5 hours, the firefighters and the farmers admit defeat and start looking for answers.
They knew it was our